Melendez. I'm a 30-year wellness expert and freedom activist for the past 4 years. And I wrote the book, Great Maui Land Grab, What Caused the Maui Fire, and Is Your Home Next? This book is up for different awards right now. It's also up as Book of the Year. Super excited about that, and you can get a copy at greatmauilandgrabbook.com. Today, I'm just going to put this down here. Today I get to interview Monique Perreira, who is running for the State House District 8. And super excited to have you today, and having this conversation is going to be really fun and really informative for people. So get out there and vote for Monique. And first, let's just start. Where are you from? You're from the islands, right?
Yes, I'm born and raised here. I was raised a combination of on Oahu, the east side, windward side, Waimanalo, Kailua, Kaneohe, and then moved to the Big Island for my high school years. Graduated from Hilo High School, and then started my family, and I moved to Waimea in 2011. Yeah.
Great. So why did you want to run for State House?
It's not ever been my dream to be a politician or to run for office, but with everything that's just going on in our world and in our communities, especially with the pandemic, I felt like we were just being disenfranchised over and over again. Our rights were being taken away. I mean, I remember vacuuming one day and just thinking, like, my stepson was graduating, and me and my husband always said we would discuss moving out of Hawaii when he graduated. And I'm vacuuming, and I get all emotional because this is my home. Nobody should have to move out of Hawaii because they have to. If you want to, if my kids want to move, I'm okay with that. But to have to move because our economy or because of our policies that's continuing to fail the locals and the people of Hawaii is not okay. So I always go out on my quest to see who wants to run. Why don't you run? Why don't you run? And nobody steps up. So I'm like, I'll run. I'll do it. So this brings me here, and I get very protective of my state, of my place of birth, that like I said, because I know that once families move away, they take generations with them and they never come back. So that's why I get emotional.
Yeah. Well, my family's been on island for 30 years. Mm-hmm. I got here January 2019, and this place is my heart.
Yes.
Like, I cannot even describe it.
Yes.
It is the most beautiful place I've ever been to. And not just that, but the people.
Yes, that's the people. Like I said, our people is our most precious resource. And what is this place going to be if we are just only the elites and the ultra rich live here? We won't have Hawaii.
No, that's not what it's about.
Yes.
The aloha that's here, the spirit of aloha, and paddling and learning about the family environment is just so beautiful. So what are the biggest things that you see in Hawaii that you would like to change?
First of all, in our government, in our state, we do need to deal with the corruption. I mean, we are really up there in our government corruption. I think term limits will really curb some of that, holding our elected and appointed officials accountable, accountable to do their jobs, what is right for the people. I want to make sure we take care of our promise to the Native Hawaiians to put them on their land. And that means holding the DHHL accountable to do their job. I always say, if I'm a massage therapist by trade, I've been doing it for over 27 years, but if I never massage one single person, can I call myself a massage therapist? So with DHHL, if your job is to put Hawaiians on the land and they're not doing it, there's a wait list and there's land available. Like, just marry them. I mean, maybe that's a little bit simplistic, but it's doable, and I feel like there's a way, there's just not the will with the people who are in office to do what is right.
And I don't think it's simplistic at all. I think it's common sense. I think that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
I mean, some of these people die, and then them being on the list doesn't go down doesn't transfer to their children, which that is by itself wrong
Yes.
and totally disrespectful for the lineage of the Hawaiians.
Right.
So that is not simplistic at all. That is the way it's supposed to be. And why do people wait for years and years? I think I have an auntie who's like been waiting there for over 20 years.
Yes.
Just to get land, and it's supposed to be that way. That's the reason why they created that system. So.
And when you think about it, if you take the people who are, who can get on Hawaiian homes, get on the land, then you free up the homes that they're in currently for the other people to move into. I mean, Hawaiian Homes is the one shot to ensure that our locals get homes. Because if we keep bringing people in from other states, like, we'll always be on the treadmill of not having enough homes for our people.
That's true.
So if we put the Hawaiians and do that, I don't know if you know this, but our legislature is required every budget to budget Hawaiian homes. That's one of the constitutions, Hawaiian Constitution, is that they budget for Hawaiian homes, and they haven't done that. So they're breaking the law every single year that they do not budget for Hawaiian homes. They're supposed to pay the operating costs so that the money in the trust goes to the other stuff. So I know they did give the $600 million, but that's not even close to what they owe. So really, like, we have to stop continuing to break the law. That just blows my mind, because when you think of all of the things that happens with our community, with our Native Hawaiian community, and some people think like, oh, look at her, she's just, all on that bandwagon. But no, we do right by that, and everything falls into place. People are happy, we have a happy state. Right now, everybody's really struggling.
Yeah, yes, they are. And one thing, I do want to go back to what you said at the beginning, because you did mention COVID and the pandemic. What's your stance on that?
Well, I believe in personal freedom. I believe that, what happens, that I should have a say with my body. And I urge everybody today, with the next few weeks before our ballots come out, I think they assume the ballots will come out by October 12th or 13th, the mail-in ballots. With all the forums that continue with our mayors and all these different positions, please ask them how they would handle the next pandemic. Because we have different information now, and if they say they're gonna handle it the way they did the last time, they should be fired.
You know about this, and this is important.
Yes.
Because those who are running for office need to support the Constitution, which it feels like they poo-poo all the time. And I'm like, how are you doing this? What does that feel like when you know that people in the legislative body don't value the Constitution?
Yeah, that's very discouraging. When you read the Constitution and like how our rights are set up, it's really a really good system. It is really a good system. Our forefathers had the foresight to think of the future and all of these different things that can happen. And really, if we know and we can stand our grounds, I mean, we're a very powerful source to deal with.
Yes.
We the people.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a bumper sticker and it says, "We the people are pissed off."
I saw that before you came in. I looked at your sticker. She said, again, her bumper sticker is, "We the people are pissed off," and I love it. And pissed off is all capitalized, which is very true, because this is a UN. People don't understand is that let me ask you these questions. So when you get in, because I feel you are going to be getting in, so this is Monique Perreira. She's running for House State District 8. And what is District 8 again?
It's all of Waimea, Kohala, Kauai, Waikoloa, and Waikiki. Part of Waikoloa, the north side of Waikoloa, I would say.
Okay, so if you guys are in that district, vote for Monique here. She's it feels like right on the money with the people and what the people want. So when you get in, what is one of the first things that you want to do?
I definitely want to look at the term limits and making sure that we don't get career politicians. I want to, really fight and advocate for parent rights. There's a lot of bills that were passed this last session that took away the rights of parents, and that infuriates me as a mom of 3 daughters, and I have a stepson. I have 2 granddaughters. To think of someone taking my 13-year-old to go get an abortion without my permission makes me want to claw somebody's eyes out, because, a 13-year-old doesn't know her medical history, and among other things, what happens when that 13-year-old comes home and she has complications, and I don't know what's happening with my daughter in the bedroom? You know, who do I sue for that?
Yeah.
You know, even, the, what is that called, the gender.
I was thinking
you
that
know,
too.
the gender, issue. I mean, my thing is, leave the kids alone.
Mhm.
Let them grow up, let them be healthy with no intervention. And if that is something that they wanna do when they're of age, I have nothing to say about that. They're their own
Mhm.
person. But, you know, this whole, gender, I forget what
The
affirming,
operations.
gender affirming care,
Oh.
you know, they don't talk about the medications that cause cancer and all the other things. You know, let's just strengthen our children's mental health.
Mhm.
Let's work on that. You know, everything that is happening in our world today is really designed to mess up our mental health and, you know, just really weaken our immune system and our, you know, we can go on and on and on, but, you know, I really, don't like government overreach. I don't like government in my house, in my business. You know, there's a lot of work to do in our state. There's also a lot of work to undo, in our state to make our state a better place and to, you know, help our small businesses, remove some of the regulation that keeps small businesses either not doing well or actually closing.
Mhm.
You know, work on the housing and the DHHL situation. You know, to me, our economy is poor, the housing has a huge piece of it.
Mhm.
You know, people, you know, where I live on the west side of Hawaii, there's a lot of jobs at the hotels, but people can't live on that side, they can't afford to live there. So, you know, you have jobs $23 an hour, nobody's taking them because they can't live between, you know, Waikoloa and Waimea. The housing situation is just horrible. So we need to fix these situations to make sure that our island families can continue to live here and thrive and, you know, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah. So when you're looking at the, first of all, why did you run for this seat? You could have run for a lot of different things.
You know, I know, looking at the county council, you know, that wasn't an issue. Somebody was trying to get me to run for, District 1. But I wanted to be able to influence stuff on the state level. You know, I wanted to be able to have a voice on the state level, like I said, with these bills about gender affirming care, you know, the parent rights, what's happening in our school system. I wanna be at that level to make sure that our voices are heard.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people are busy working and raising their families. They're not paying attention to who they put in office and what they voted on. You know, my opponent voted on automatic expungement of your criminal record. Who does that benefit? I'm a law-abiding taxpayer. That does not help me.
Oh my goodness.
That does not help me. So, you know, the concern, when you read the testimony against those bills, you know, the domestic violence and the, you know, all these different people who came out and testified against that, how do you know that somebody committed a crime over and over again if their record is getting expunged? There's no, you know, I understand for work reasons and for housing reasons, you know, that is an issue for people with criminal records, but we can't just say automatic expungement.
No, oh my, why would they do that at all?
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
who would that benefit? That doesn't,
That
why
does
would
not
that
benefit
even?
me. That's not my, that's not my constituents. When I tell people that, they're like, wait, what?
I didn't know that.
And I'm like, exactly.
And why would that even be brought up? Expunge somebody's criminal record?
Yeah.
There's so, with everything that they could be focusing
Yeah.
on, they focus on that.
Well, yeah, that, I mean, with this, you know, when you talk about what is our number one issues in our communities, it's the economy and housing. Automatic expungement of a criminal record does not hit that. So I'm always surprised, and people like, you know, a lot of stuff that's coming up in the next legislature, they're looking at, the recreational marijuana issue. You know, when I talk to my constituents in my area, they don't wanna see that happen. When you talk to the police and all the people up in the upper, you know, the people who run rehabs and all of these things, they're all against that. And so when I, look at something like that, I wanna make sure that I'm representing the people, and that's not what they want, you know, so, you know, I think marijuana is a medical thing, and it should be kept in that arena. It's not hard to go get a medical marijuana license, but,
That's true.
you know, and I think you take away the medicinal properties of it once you start just, willy-nilly selling it wherever, letting everybody get a hold of it. We really need to make sure that our community is safe. You know, the marijuana is just not the same like it used to be. It's hybrid, it's very modified so that it's more potent, you know. That needs to all be taken into consideration. And my opponent did, he supported that. He supported a lot of other bills that I'm just like, what are they thinking? What are they thinking?
Is he from, who is your opponent?
David Tarnas, he, I think he's been in Hawaii for over 30 years, on the west side.
So he's not from Hawaii?
Well, he's not born here, but he's lived here for quite a long time. He's raised his kids, over in Waimea. I think they went to, private school, and they live on the, they live in America now, but, you know, but all the legislatures are doing stuff like that. When you look at these bills, who supported what, you know, the gender affirming care, the, you know, parent rights, it's just mind boggling how they just are okay to reach their hand in and touch our families' overreach.
Yes.
Total overreach.
Yeah, well, yeah, the children, especially under 18, they can't drink or, you know, drive a car till they're 15, 16 years old, but yet they can go get their genitals mutilated.
Yeah.
You know, without parental approval. So when you're looking at Hawaii, what is something that you feel is moving toward in the right direction with our islands?
You know, I think people are really starting to pay attention. When we have these town meetings, the people that show up are very educated. They know what's happening. They are not in the dark anymore. I think with access to information, you know, like on Rumble and all the different platforms, we're starting to pay attention, and people are starting to speak up. And they, you know, when you look at, I guess, the amount of people who testify now compared to before, it's there, it's available. It might be a little cumbersome on how to navigate, but once you get it, and people are doing it. You know, the call to actions, letting everybody know, like, hey, this is coming up, go and testify. I think that's really helpful, because everybody says, I don't have time to pay attention to all these bills.
It's a lot.
So I just tell people, pay attention to one area: health, education, you know, just pay attention to one area and find your people with common ground and say, so I send out text messages. I'm like, hey, you know, this is coming up, you know, this is coming up. And if everybody did that, you know, everybody would be so much more informed. And I think we're seeing that now.
I love that. I love that. So I actually created a standtogetherhawaii.com.
Yes, I'm on the mailer.
Thank you. So we actually, they actually did a testimony in Waimea last night.
Yes, it was a workshop,
workshop for the general plan. And my friend who went, she said a lot of locals went, a lot of local Hawaiians, native Hawaiians went. She said that the testimony or the sharing was over 2 hours long. And that's fantastic. That's fantastic, because this general plan, you guys, is horrific. Myself, I went through it with 4 other people. There was 5 of us looking at the 255-page general plan, and we actually revised it.
Yes.
Because this general plan that is for Big Island let me just tell you, they want to limit people's travel. They want to put people in clustered houses. They want to take people out of the rural areas, put them in clustered houses. They want to change the codes and the zoning codes, and there was another thing that I wanted to share around. They want to be able to take people's land for clustered homes. They want to acquire. Remember the governor after the Maui fire? The first words out of the governor's mouth after the fire was not, we're making sure all of the fire victims are safe and housed and have food and water. No. His first sentence was, I'm looking for ways for the state to acquire the land for workforce housing. It's the first words out of our Hawaiian governor's mouth. That says a lot about that fire. And again, I wrote the book Great Maui Land Grab for that, but one thing in this plan, it does say that they want to acquire land for clustered housing, and then they also want to put buffer zones. They want to people out of nature,
Yes.
and they want to have buffer zones so they're seeing who's going in and out. They want to basically watch us and make sure that we're not going into different
Nature.
areas, going into nature. Have you looked at the plan? What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
no, I mean, it's scary, and right after, I learned about all of that stuff, we had to go to Oahu for something, and me and my husband stayed in Kapolei at the, I forget what hotel, the Hilton in Kapolei or whatever, and we were on like the 4th or 5th floor, and I opened up the curtains and I looked outside and I went, this is a 15-minute city. Everything you need is within 15 minutes. It's all walking paths. It's almost like Stepford Wives. It's not real. I mean, it's clean, there's beautiful walkways and everything, but there's no life, and the sad part about it, Michelle, is there's no history in the architecture. You don't see no plantation home. You don't see, it's all brand new.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't like that.
No.
I like driving through Waimea and seeing cows and sheep and goats and, and fence lines and pastures, and I mean, that's why I'm running too, is to keep the way of life, our culture, to preserve all of that. Like I said, we can do it responsibly, we can have progress responsibly, but what is Hawaii if we lose all of these little, all of these things? So, yeah, the general plan is scary, and people need to pay attention, and it's so funny because, every year when we have, an election, all these politicians talk about sustainability, but when you look at the general plan, there's no plan for sustainability. It's all, they're gonna feed you, they're gonna do
Mhm.
everything, because they're gonna take away, our raising of animals. And, we have cows, I have a lot of friends who have ranches, and, the direction does not look like they want us to continue that lifestyle.
No.
So that's the scary thing, is it looks like they're trying everything they can to discourage that lifestyle. Our farmers aren't being incentivized to continue to grow. Our ranchers are having issues with getting leases to continue to growing. We can be the food basket
Yeah.
of Hawaii, especially with our ranchers. We don't have processing. We don't have access to process our animals. So a lot of times, our ranchers will sell our cows off, to go get grain fed on the feedlots on the mainland, and then sent away. There's such a market for grass fed, and that's all our cows are at this point, are grass fed.
That's right.
Why aren't we, let's create a processing system, a place to process our animals here so that they can stay right here,
Mhm. So if you're just tuning in, this is Monique Perreira. She is running for District House 8, or House
Mhm.
District 8,
Mhm.
State House. Did I say that right?
Yeah, State House District 8.
State House District 8. This is District 8. If you are in that area, which again, what is that area?
It's Waimea, Kohala, Kauai, Waikoloa, and Waikiki.
So if you're in that area, get on the voting ballot and vote for Monique.
Yeah. As a newbie, we don't get the advantage of all the interviews, and when we do forums, it is all geared to the incumbents, asking them questions, and, they have all the political answers, and then, I just wish somebody would say, and is that problem solved yet? How many millions of dollars did you throw at that? Is that problem solved? No. I always say that our answer to a lot of our problems isn't the government. It is our communities, giving our communities the power to solve our problems.
Mhm.
I want from the state, give us the money, give us, ease the regulations, and let the communities deal with it. The communities will solve all these problems.
Yep. Yep.
Because the community has the power. The state just needs to let us do it.
Yes, but it's the agenda here with all of these rules and regulations, and that's the other thing in the general plan, you guys. So please join StandTogetherHawaii.com, because you will get emails about taking action that will be for the people. And one of them is the whole PDF. We did our PDF that we rewrote. The general plan was 76 pages as of last night. I know somebody else was working on it again today, but the one that I put out. But one thing about the general plan is so many more regulations. Regulations equals fines, equals permits, equals contraction of your rights. This general plan was literally, I even, in my testimony, when I submitted a testimony, I said, how did the Hawaii General Plan Department write this document?
They didn't.
They didn't. I said, this document is the same verbiage as I looked up Santa Cruz, California, where I last lived, my hometown Chico,
It's all the same.
It's all the same. It's all the same language. Buffer zone is in there.
Yes.
Stakeholders are in there. That's the other thing.
Yeah, clusters, yeah.
Clusters. That's the other thing with the general plan is stakeholder is written 26
Who is that?
times.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Who's the
said.
stakeholders?
That's what I said in the general plan. I said, who are they? What do they have stake in?
Yes.
And the word homeowner is written 0 times. In the Big Island General Plan, the word homeowner is written 0 times. So in our revision of it, every time they said stakeholder, we put farmers and homeowners.
That's right.
And remove stakeholders unless you
Yes.
are transparent and tell us who they are.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that's in our general plan, and I'm appalled by it. I think anybody who cares about these islands and their home should be appalled by it. I think the planning department should be appalled that they even put it out.
Well, I mean, most of them don't even understand.
That's
it.
what
They
I
don't even
think.
know what it is.
I
It's
think
like,
that.
what entity put this together and put it out, and we're supposed to go like, okay,
Yeah.
you know.
That's what I asked. I said, have you guys even read this? Because this looks like a Nazi communist
Yes.
agenda with so many rules and
Well,
regulations.
now too, with the whole World Health Organization and our Washington trying to turn over our rights to the World Health Organization. Again, this came up before, right? And it's coming up again, that they wanna, people don't understand, as Americans, we are safe under our Constitution. If that ever gets removed,
Yeah.
we are communists. We are a
Yeah.
Nazi communist country. And so if our government turns over our rights to the World Health Organization, anything that they can deem as a pandemic or an emergency, they will shut us down. And, that's really a frightful thought.
Mhm.
We need to be concerned, and we need to pay attention, and we need to call Maisie and Schatz and all of them and demand that they do not sign that.
Mhm.
Because that will be a total, that'll be a total destruction of our country.
Absolutely. And yes, and these plans, if you're just watching this and you're going, what are they talking about? These plans have been in place
Mhm.
for a very, very long time. And, I'm just gonna share again the book Great Maui Land Grab, which I wrote. You can get it at greatmauilandgrabbook.com. It actually shares the history of the United States of America turning into the United States Corporation. And it actually was done after the Civil War. People don't understand that the United States became the United States Corporation, giving the United States to the corporate bankers, because after the Civil War, both the north and south side of the United States of America, when they were fighting, they were getting loans from the foreign bankers. And after the war, everybody was bankrupt, so what did the government do? They collateralized the United States.
Mhm.
And people don't understand that what that did was it gave the United States of America to these foreign bankers, and it corporatized all of our agencies, which means every single agency in America, in the United
So
States.
They're lien holders, basically.
Exactly.
They're lien holders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
exactly right. Thank you so much for knowing this.
Yeah. No.
Really appreciate that.
And another topic about the whole Maui thing, I mean, I just really want people to understand, when you watch the nightly news, which I hardly ever do, but when you watch the news, at the end of the news, when they give the weather, they always tell the weather in Las Vegas. And when they did the 1-year anniversary for the Maui fires, they showed the people living and thriving in Las Vegas. And that made me so upset, because it's like saying I'm a pastor of a church, but that church is way better. And that church is doing this, and that church is doing that, and look at how great they are. We shouldn't be advertising how people are thriving in another state. because that's a failure with every single policymaker in our state today. To me, they should lose their seats. If they lose a certain percent of their constituents, that's a failure, and you should lose your seat. This migration of our people to other states for opportunities, for job, and for a better economy, that's a complete F in my scorecard to our government, and we need to change that. We need to fix that. No, I'm sorry, Las Vegas isn't a better state for me and my family. This is my home. This is where I choose to fight. And like I said, if my children want to move away, I'm not going to stop them, but they shouldn't have to move away.
Yeah.
When I see these families moving, I'm like, another one, all these families moving away. And I'm like, it's heartbreaking, because I know that they're taking generations with them, unacceptable.
That's actually what State Representative Ellie Cochran has also stated.
Yes.
She said that
she's
because
been fighting.
She's been fighting the whole time, and after a year they've given 20 permits, only 20 permits
That's
for
a
the
failure.
2,200 properties that were destroyed.
So let me tell you, do you know what a PLA is? It's a project labor agreement, and it is, it requires jobs that are under a certain amount of money to have to meet a certain requirement, certain standards. So in February of 2024, Governor Josh Green reduced the PLA down to 1.5 million, from 25 million down to 1.5 million. So what this means is any job over 1.5 million needs to conform to this project labor agreement, which is in favor of union contractors, union jobs. They said of our labor workforce, 30,000 people in Hawaii are in our labor workforce. Only 60% of them are non-union. 60% of our contractors, electrical, roofing, painters, there's like 5 different groups, are only 60% of them are non-union. So when he decreased this down to 1.5 million, that just kind of eliminated all these small contractors, small businesses from bidding on state, federal, and government jobs. Now, we already don't have the workforce to rebuild Lahaina as it is. I think they said, if you go on YouTube, Grassroots Institute talks about this, and they talked to the president of the ABC, the Association of Builders and Contractors. And he says on Maui alone, there's only like 1,500 people in this arena, contractors. Not enough. So we'd have to bring people, because we don't have enough. I mean, and then like 1.5 million is, in today's economy, you can't even renovate a bathroom, a park bathroom for 1.5 million.
Yeah.
So every job will have to fit under this, and that means this is all have to go to unions, and our small contractors will struggle, and we need to bring that back up to 25 million, or even the federal limit is 35 million. We need to fix that. And then we also need to fix our programs, our apprenticeship programs, to get more people in these trades. There's so much regulation on these apprenticeship programs that it doesn't incentivize our people to get into the trades: plumbing, electrician, roofer, painter. We need those right now. We need those to rebuild Maui and all of Hawaii. And again, when you see these policies, you realize it fits into some of these agendas. You can't pretend that they don't know what's happening. It fits into their agenda. They say one thing and they do another.
Mm-hmm.
And we really need to start paying attention to not just what they say, but what they do.
Absolutely. Well, Josh Green he's very much in with this agenda that they have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was watching one of these prior interviews, and one of the things he said, and this, I don't want to get it too much into Maui, because I could totally go in there, because Lahaina's still blocked off.
Yes.
Lahaina's still a year later, and you can only get into the burn zone if you have a placard that says you live there, or you have a house that was there. And at the stop area where there's these guards, they tell you don't take pictures and don't video. A year later. Why? So I went in, total video, the whole thing, all where I was in there. But I want to go back to what Josh Green said. One of the things he said in this interview, first, right after Lahaina, he's in these scrubs and his
Stethoscope.
Stethoscope. Why?
His uniform.
I was like, why? Why is he in that? For me, it looked ridiculous.
It's a predictive programming
That's
tactic.
exactly what I was
I'm
thinking.
trusted. I'm a doctor. Trust me. I care. That's a predictive programming.
That's exactly what I thought. And then he said, there's so many people that died, so it really shows that this was a natural fire.
Then
And
don't
I'm-
sue Hilco. Then you can't sue Hilco.
But it was fun. I was like,
It's like-
how do so many people dying show it's a natural fire? I mean, it just didn't match up.
Mhm.
And yeah, it wasn't Helco because Helco was, all the
Right.
electricity was
It's
turned off.
But they want to sue Hilco, so they say it was Hilco's fault, and then he says it's climate change on the other side.
Yeah,
But
and
you know what?
I
You know what I
tell you
want them to
something.
investigate? How many of these homes had photovoltaic with those batteries? How many electric vehicles burnt in these fires? Because the intensity of those fires is being created by these new technology.
They are.
And I mean, I'm just saying, like, the intensity of that fire, you would not have seen that intensity, 30 years ago when we were just have gasoline cars and regular electricity. The intensity of those fires. So now it makes you think about all this solar farms we're putting up and them encouraging everybody to go photovoltaic with the battery backup and stuff like that. I'm like, I mean, that's creating a fire that you can't even extinguish.
Mhm. That's actually very true.
Yeah.
Yes, a firefighter actually said a regular gas automobile
You can
fire,
extinguish,
and it takes about 750 gallons of water, and it takes about 5 minutes
Mhm.
to put out. A electric vehicle takes over 2 hours to put out
Yes,
with
yes.
over 22,000 gallons of water.
Don't they have to use specific, like a foam or something to put
Yeah,
on
I don't
electric?
know.
I mean, I was in the military and I was on a ship and I played firefighter for my 4 years on my ship. And, every different fire requires different extinguishing agents, and an electrical fire is different. You use, different technology, and I can't even imagine, I have been in a few fires, and fought on my ship. The heat is extraordinary. I
Mhm.
can't even imagine what the heat is like coming from something like what we saw, or like what you see in Paradise, or in these
All of
other
them,
fires.
all of them.
When you see metal melt, that is not natural.
Normal. And the
That's not
trees
normal.
stay standing.
Yes.
And the reason
With
for
some
that,
leaves, yeah.
I interviewed an arborist. He said that the chemistry of the fire doesn't recognize the organics. So the
Yes.
actual chemistry of the fire is different. It's
Mhm.
not a regular fire, and this is why bodies were found with completely charred, but you could recognize a body.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
Yeah, no, I did just see a recent, video, and it was pretty incredible.
Mhm.
There was something not normal about that. Petrified in place?
Exactly.
Petrified
right.
in place, that's a new one, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I have a question to ask about your military background, and I just wanted, we again, the book Great Maui Land Grab, you can get it at greatmauilandgrabbook.com. What did you do in the military?
I was stationed on a ship. I was in the Navy. I was stationed on a ship for 4 years, and I was in supply. But when you're on a ship, you do security, you do firefighting, you do a little cooking, work in you do a little bit of everything. But for the most part, I was in supply, working with contracts, procuring, using Navy stock system to supply our ship. And my ship was a ship that repaired and supplied the entire fleet. So if you went out as a whole carrier group, we repaired, maintained all the ships in that carrier group, and out to sea too. So I traveled a lot with my military, seen a lot of different countries, more other countries than my own country. It's really funny, but that was an experience of a lifetime. It helped me grow up a lot and kind of shape how I am and who I am today.
Absolutely. So when you get in, what is it that you want to see happen with Hawaii? And this is again Monique Perreira, running for House State District 8.
I want to see the people of Hawaii thrive. I want to see jobs and businesses. I went to the RNC back in July, and we were in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and to see the economy there and to see how, Milwaukee is, up there. It gets cold. They have winters. They have real winters 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
And to see their agriculture industry, you're like, they do all of this for 6 months out of the year. And we have 12 months of a year, perfect weather. And we do not invest in our agriculture the way we should. I really wanna help our agriculture industry, make sure that we can provide food for ourselves, be more sustainable. There's, like I said, in every aspect of getting into the legislature. You put me in education, we'll fix it, let's find some common sense approaches to fix our education system. Let's get rid of the DOE, let's allow every island to help to do their own DOE basically on each island. Cause we're so Oahu-centric, our especially moving from here in Hilo, my kids went to Waikea Elementary School. And then I went to, then they went to Waimea Middle School, elementary and middle school, and you can see the difference, and it's like, these schools don't get help. They don't get the support that they need. They don't get the repairs that they need. They need help. And I'm fighting for the underdog. I'm fighting for all our rural communities, get them the help they need. Let's help our farmers. Like I said, there's so much going on, I think if, when you see all of this protest, people, with the activism, it's really ramping up. People are really getting engaged and involved. And I said, why do people protest? It's because they feel like they're not getting their fair share. I'm one of 5 siblings, right? When you have siblings, you think one is getting more than the other, you're not happy.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that everybody gets their fair share. The state needs to do a better job for our people here. And they can, like I said, they can do it. They just don't have the will. And in our recent forums we've had in Waimea with all the different candidates, it's really funny because people are holding these incumbents' feet to the fire. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And they're backtracking, they're not happy, and everybody would say, only you new candidates are answering our questions and have good responses, and the incumbents didn't want to answer. And I'm like, because they're not being used to answering to the people, to the community, and that's not okay. We need to hold them to the fire.
Absolutely. Well, I really feel that some of these incumbents have been put in place because I don't feel that some of the elections are really fair. Did you see that one? What do you feel about that?
Oh, no, we definitely need to do better with our elections. We need to clean out our voter rolls. We need to make sure, I want one-day voting in person with valid ID.
I love it.
Why would we not want the fairest elections possible? That is outrageous. We want fair elections. People, that's your constitutional right. And so what happened was, my daughter, she did her mail-in ballot, she signed it, it went in, and it got kicked back because her signature didn't match. So they tried to call her. Well, I have all of their tracking on my phone, so it got sent to me and said that there was a problem with hers, to call the number. So I kept telling my daughter, call the number. So she didn't get to it right away. She finally called and they said her signature didn't match, and already they were mailing her the affidavit to fill out, to turn in. So she got the affidavit on Thursday. If she had signed it and turned it in, it wouldn't have mailed it in. It wouldn't have reached in time for her vote to count. That's unconstitutional. If I go out of my way to vote, I fill out a ballot, I do everything I'm supposed to, my vote better count.
Mm-hmm.
A little extra strike that is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
To see 5,000 spoiled ballots, not acceptable.
Especially when this isn't a huge island.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yeah.
Those votes matter.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things, like I said, I've worked in the polls where I've seen people spoil 1, 2 ballots just in one, just trying to vote one time, just messing up. So when you have people mailing in their ballots, am I gonna run to elections on that day and fix it? A lot of people don't have time for that. They already voted. They're like, I already voted. I'm not gonna do this again, even though their vote actually didn't count. We need to fix that. Everybody's vote should count, and with more and more people being educated as to what's happening, then even more so, we need to make sure that voting is a civic duty. We need to teach our kids from school what is, how good it is. To see the kupuna come out and vote, and they're like, I wanna vote in person. That's their personal responsibility, and they will do it with walker, with wheelchair, they don't care. They are proud to go out and vote, and we need to instill that in our community and in our kids so that when they're of age, they know what that's like.
I love it. So who else would you think is on the same wavelength as you who's running?
So I am really proud to say that on the west side, we have very viable candidates running for office. We have Ashley Oyama, who's running for House District 5 against Janine Capella. Now, Janine Capella is very progressive. During the pandemic, she did put a bill out to allow 11-year-olds and up to get vaccinated in school without your parents' permission.
Oh my.
She put out that bill. She also was a sponsors of a lot of these other bills that take away parent rights. So my friend Ashley Oyama, she was a Teacher of the Year in 2020, and she is running. District 6, I have Sylvie Madison. She's running against Kahaloa, and she's a very good candidate. She's all for freedom and small businesses. And
which one was that?
Sylvie Madison for House
Sylvie
District
Madison.
6. District 7, I have Tim Dahlhaus, who is a decorated military veteran. He is a small business owner. He is a really good guy, conservative, and he is really like plugging away, going against Nicole Lowen, who has not had a competitor in a few cycles. So that is my thing, is to always have somebody go against the incumbents. We need competition. We need that. They need to be held accountable. And somebody running against these incumbents is holding them accountable.
Mm-hmm.
To not run against them is like saying, you've done such a fabulous job, we're all living and thriving and happy. I don't see that.
No,
I don't see that where I'm from.
No.
Yeah, so.
What do you think about the race for mayor?
That's an interesting one. Mitch Roth, I've seen how he dealt with the pandemic. Not how I would have liked it to go, but it was a lot better than a lot of the other states.
Yes.
A lot of the other
I
counties.
Yeah.
And then we have Kimo Alameda, who, I know him personally. Our kids played sports together. I think it's a really tight race, but we do need to ask the hard questions about how will things go down if we see another pandemic?
Yes.
And predictive programming. We already think we're gonna see something before the election because, we don't want an election, I guess. We wanna keep people from getting there and putting good people in office. So, there could be a lot of stuff that happens between now and election, unfortunately. So we have to really be mindful of what these people's position is, what are their plans for our county? Because our county is more powerful than our state. It's county who governs us, and that's who we need to concentrate on as far as what happens here. So we really need to pay attention to this mayoral race and ask the hard questions and find out what do they think.
God.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, I just so appreciate having you. Is there anything else you'd like to share? And
no, I just really hope everybody gets out and votes and, pays attention to, all the different issues that are important to you. I don't expect them to pay attention to every single issue because there is a lot going on. And like I said, we're busy raising our families and putting food on the table. So, find that one topic and plug away, email, ask questions, go to these forums, go to these town meetings and find out where your elected people stand. And if they don't align with you, say something. See something, say something.
yes. But where can people find you? What's your
I do
website?
have a website. It's www.moniqueforhawaii.com. It does have some of my platforms and ideas, and we're supposed to update it with current events. I've been so busy. We just did the Paniolo Parade in Waimea, which was amazing to see the community come out and celebrate our culture and our history, deep Paniolo culture. I love living out there. I mean, when you see the families and how they work together, they're up at like 4 a.m. and we gotta do a branding, we gotta do, we gotta separate. And from keiki to kupuna, the kupuna are doing their thing. Everybody does their share to help each other out there. And I really love that value system out there. Anyway, so sidetrack, but yeah, you can go to my website, or, you know, I have Monique at MoniqueForHawaii.com is my email address. You can email me with any questions or concerns, or, you know, my thing is, it's not about what I want. What does the community want? You know, if you, as a business owner, you have something that you want, like,
Mhm.
that's, like, I take that. I don't pretend to know anything or everything, too. I wanna hear from the community, and the community does have the ideas and the solutions to a lot of the problems we have. It's just nobody's listening to them, you know? So I'm game.
That's wonderful. And what does your family think about you running? How do they feel about this?
You know, my husband, this time, I was kinda gonna sit back, and he was like, no, you gotta run again. People don't understand what's happening, and he thinks that I have a way to explain it, that people really understand, you know, what's at stake here. So he's very, very supportive. My kids, I don't know, they're not used to just, you know, I have banners all over White Man. They're like, oh, Mom, see your banners everywhere. I'm
Good.
like, well, tell your friends to vote, then I can take them down. You don't have to worry about me anymore.
What ages are they?
My son is 19. My youngest daughter is 21, 23, and 31. And then I have two grandbabies, 4 and 2. So it's a pretty full house. I mean, they don't all live with me, but, you know, it's a full family, and
Love it.
I see it all, yeah.
That's great. And so what would you like to see for your grandchildren who are on the island?
Oh my, you know, I wanna see them like with everybody else, to be able to live here and thrive,
Mhm.
you know, happy. And that doesn't mean financial wealth, that means just a good life. You know, like we were fortunate to grow up with
So
right here in
grateful.
Hawaii. Yeah, picking fruit off the trees, hanging out with grandma, you know, all of those things. I want that for my grandkids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, your website one more time?
www.moniqueforhawaii.com. Do I have to say the www anymore?
No, not anymore.
Or you can go to my email, Monique@moniqueforhawaii.com.
So definitely get in touch with her if you have any questions, and check out her website. Monique is again running for House District 8, and one more time with those locations.
Oh, Waimea, Kohala, Kauai, Waikiki, and Waikoloa.
If you know of anybody who is living in those areas, if you're living in those areas, then do go out and vote for Monique. And she did also share who she would be voting for, who is voting for, with the other districts as well. And one last thing is, again, the Great Maui Land Grab book. This not only describes what happened in Lahaina, but also how our country has been taken over. It is really important for everybody to know what's going on, and that is greatmauilandgrabbook.com. Mahalo so much for watching. Okay, we just stopped, but then we're just talking story, and we were talking about the fracking, and also Kilauea, which is, we're on Big Island. Kilauea is going off again.
Mhm.
And just share what we just were talking about, because I'm
Yeah.
like, holy poop, we gotta get this on
Yeah.
video.
So I don't know the exact title of the video. It's on YouTube. It's about Puna geothermal and what's happening out there. I believe the former, I don't know if he has county council, Russell Ruderman, kind of narrates it, but it talks about what's happening in Puna and with Puna geothermal. That is the only,
And Puna's where Kilauea
Yeah.
is erupting.
and Puna geothermal is the only geothermal plant in a residential area in the whole world that's in a residential area and on a very active volcano. And when you look at the 2018 eruption, you'll see the way the fissures opened up in a very straight line just below the boundary of PGV. So that's
And
suspect.
PGV, what is PGV?
Puna Geothermal Venture, which is owned by a foreign entity, so whatever money they make does not stay here in Hawaii. They don't contribute much, but they do desecrate, as far as I'm concerned. So when you look at it, like I said, the fissures are in a straight line. We don't have straight lines in nature. Also, the concern is when they frack and it shakes up, they are making that, Hilinai Pali unstable.
What's that?
That's that little plateau just below Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. It's like a it's like a slump, and it's sunk down like that. And they're saying that if that continues to unstable that ground, that will collapse, and it will send a tidal wave that will cover basically the state. And so it's not just what's happening with the geothermal and the whatever output that makes people feel sick out there. It's also creating this unstable situation with that piece of
area.
land, yeah. And I do know that they are talking about drilling Hakalau as well as Hualalai, Kohala Mountain. They're looking at other places to start drilling for this geothermal. I mean, I don't know, did your electric bill go down since we started finding all these alternative energies?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I
No.
mean, even with all the solar farms on my side, on the west side of the island, solar farms, I don't know when, clearing shrub and putting all this man-made stuff ever became an environmental issue, but they're looking at, doing more geothermal.
And they also had fracking in the general plan.
Yes,
That they want
yes.
to do more fracking
Well,
here.
that's- yeah.
And this is, and then you were talking about the eruption in 2018. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the 2018 eruption,
Which was massive.
Which was massive, based on that video. When you look, and all the scientists who took a look at it, and they said that was created from the fracking out that side.
The lava was like I don't know how many story building.
Yes,
It
yes.
was going whoosh
And I think
out
they
of
said
the
that
earth.
they could tell that lava was coming from the mantle, from the core. It wasn't coming from like the pockets of lava. It was like from deep center earth. Concerning. We are being used as test subjects here with no accountability for, the devastation that it creates, or, the unstable, the instability in that little, that slump, that area. We need to really look at that and make sure we don't make a mistake that we can't
Take back.
take back.
Now, what do you think about the Mauna Loa eruption that happened?
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know if, I don't think it had anything to do with the fracking. I don't know. I didn't see any updates on that. I mean, that was kind of unusual. I guess they said it was due. I was in high school when Mauna Loa erupted and Kilauea was erupting. We used to go out to the cane fields out in Pepekeo and watch. I mean, they would fountain 1,000 feet in the air. We just sit there and just watch it all night. It was beautiful, spectacular.
Wow.
So to see it erupting again, like I said, it was almost 30 years, to the date. And it's amazing, but I just hope it's not being created by man-made issues.
And now you said that they are also fracking on Mauna Kea?
No, they're not
Oh, okay.
fracking, but they are, I think they are entertaining drilling on Hualalai to see what its potential for geothermal is. And I thought I heard of Kohala, but I do know that it came out about Haleakala on Maui. That they wanna look into doing a geothermal thing there. I mean, I know there's successful geothermal in like New Zealand or Iceland or something like that, but it's not in residential areas.
Yeah, and if Hualalai goes off,
Mhm.
that's Kona.
Kona town is gone.
That's Kona, you guys. That's quite terrifying,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah, we really need to pay attention. Like you said, the general plan, it's all in there, what they are planning for our state and our island, and to think that none of us had any input on that up until now. And we have to let them know that we are paying attention, and if they don't start listening, everybody is replaceable.
And this is Monique, again, Perreira. She's going for District 8 here on the islands, so please get out there and vote. And this I wanted to do, we were just talking story right after the interview.
Like,
we
let's
just
start up
did,
again, yeah.
Because, well, first of all, and also I wanted to get it on my YouTube channel, because that goes around the world.
Yeah.
And this is for local, the Big Island, local TV. So.
Go and look for that video. I wish I knew the title, but it's about PGV, and it talks about how all the scientists, they all speak up and they all say how it was not a natural event that happened. And it also talks about what could happen if we continue on this path of drilling and fracking down there. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well, thank you so much for this information, and glad we got this again on video.
Thank you.
Mahalo.